You set something down for 30 seconds. A sock, a shoe, your TV remote, your underwear, and somehow, always the underwear. And you turn around and it is gone. And there they are, standing in the doorway with it in their mouth, tail wagging, eyes bright, looking at you with an expression that can only be described as deeply, unapologetically pleased with themselves. You say their name. They back up. You take a step toward them. They spin and take off down the hallway. And despite yourself, despite the fact that this is the third time this week and you cannot find a matching sock to save your life, you almost laugh. Because there is something about the whole performance that feels so intentional, so theatrical, so specifically designed to get a reaction out of you. And here's the thing, it is. What looks like mischief is actually a sophisticated psychological behavior. And once you understand what is really driving it, you will never look at your dog's theft habit the same way again. Welcome back. This channel exists to help you understand what is actually going on inside your dog's mind, past the surface behavior into the real psychology underneath it. Today we are talking about dogs that steal things, why they do it, what they are communicating, the different psychological motivations behind the behavior depending on the dog, and what you should and absolutely should not do in response. This one is more layered than it looks. Let's get into it. The first thing to understand, this is never random. The most important reframe for this entire conversation is this. Your dog is not stealing randomly. Every item a dog selects, every moment they choose to take it, every behavior they perform after taking it, these are not accidents. They are the output of a psychological system that is working exactly as designed. The dog is not malfunctioning. They are communicating, and the item they choose, and the timing of the theft, and what they do with the object afterward. These are all data. Dogs do not have language. They cannot walk up to you and say what they need. What they have instead is behavior. And stealings in the canine psychological toolkit is one of the most effective attention-generating behaviors available to them. Effective, because it works almost every time. You react, you get up, you engage. You follow them, you negotiate with them, you try to trade them, you laugh, you get frustrated. But regardless of the specific flavor of your reaction, the core outcome is identical. They have your complete undivided attention. And attention for a social animal wired for pack living is not a luxury. It is a primary need. Reason 1. Attention seeking and why it goes deeper than it sounds. When behaviorists say a dog is stealing for attention, it is easy to hear that as trivial. Oh, they just want attention, as though wanting attention is a minor quirk rather than a fundamental psychological drive. But attention seeking in dogs needs to be understood for what it actually is. It is proximity seeking. It is connection seeking. It is a dog communicating through the only reliable channel they have found that they need more engagement than they are currently receiving. And the reason stealing is so effective as an attention mechanism is that it triggers a chase response. You pursue, they retreat, you pursue again. Suddenly the two of you are in a highly activated, interactive, physically engaged dynamic that the dog finds enormously stimulating and rewarding. From the dog's perspective, this is one of the best games available. It involves movement, interaction, your full focus, and a clear back and forth structure that feels almost like play, which brings us to what is often the deeper motivation underneath the attention seeking. They are trying to initiate play with you, and stealing is the most reliable play initiation tool in their arsenal. Think about what stealing and the subsequent chase replicates. It mirrors a hunting or keep away game, something dogs play with each other. One dog has the object, the other wants it, pursuit ensues. Your dog has simply adapted this game for cross-species play with you. The sock is not the point. The game is the point. The sock is just the invitation. Reason 2. Your scent and the comfort function. Here's the piece that most owners never consider, and it reframes the entire behavior. Not all stealing is about attention or play. A significant portion of object theft, particularly theft that happens quietly, without performance, often when the owner is away or unavailable, is a comfort behavior rooted in scent. We covered this in the alone time video. Dogs are chemically soothed by their owner's scent. Cortisol drops, oxytocin activates. The mere olfactory presence of the person they are attached to has measurable physiological effects on a dog's stress response. Items that carry your scent most strongly, worn clothing, shoes, items you handle frequently, are neurologically the most comforting objects in your dog's environment. When a dog takes these items and carries them, holds them, brings them to their bed, they are not being destructive. They are self-soothing. This pattern is particularly common in dogs with separation anxiety, in dogs going through environmental stress, and in dogs that are simply highly bonded to a specific person. The theft is not about the object. It is about maintaining olfactory contact with you when you are not physically available. A dog carrying your sock to their bed is doing the same thing neurologically as a child sleeping with a parent's t-shirt. They are holding on to the trace of the person who makes them feel safe. Reason 3. Resource psychology and the value of the forbidden. There's a third motivation that operates on a completely different psychological axis, and it has to do with how dogs assess value. Dogs, like most mammals, assign higher value to resources that are contested or hard to obtain. This is an evolutionary principle. Rare and protected resources are more nutritionally or strategically valuable than abundant and accessible ones. It is not a conscious calculation. It is a deep-wired valuation heuristic. When you react strongly to a dog taking an object, when you chase, negotiate, plead, offer trades, or become visibly distressed, you are, from the dog's neurological perspective, confirming that this object is extremely valuable. Your reaction is data, and the data says, this thing matters enormously to this very important person, which means it matters enormously to the dog. This is why the items dogs steal and refuse to relinquish most stubbornly are often the items that produce the most dramatic owner reactions historically. Your phone, your wallet, your good shoes, these things got big responses, and big responses equal high value, and high value objects are worth keeping. You inadvertently train them to treasure the things you care most about, and they are executing that training flawlessly. Reason 4. Boredom and the understimulated brain. This motivation is the most straightforward, but it deserves to be named clearly because it is one of the most common underlying causes and one of the most fixable. Dogs are cognitively capable animals. Working breeds in particular, herding dogs, terriers, retrievers, were bred for sustained mental engagement, problem solving, tracking, retrieving, responding to complex cues. Their brains are built for work. When that cognitive need goes unmet, when the dog's daily life does not provide adequate mental stimulation, they generate their own stimulation. And stealing is one of the most cognitively engaging, self-directed activities available to them. It involves selecting an object, reading the environment, timing the theft, managing the pursuit, and navigating the negotiation. For a bored dog, this is genuinely enriching. Not destructive, not naughty, enriching. They have created a complex, multi-stage interaction out of nothing but a sock and their own intelligence. The dog that steals constantly is often the dog that needs significantly more mental engagement than their current routine provides. The stealing is the symptom. The unmet cognitive need is the cause. What you should never do, and what actually works. Understanding the why gives us the framework for the response, and the response most owners default to is almost perfectly designed to make the problem worse. Chasing the dog confirms and rewards the behavior. It provides exactly what the dog was seeking: engagement, pursuit, interaction, and it teaches them that stealing reliably produces this outcome. Every chase is a training session reinforcing the theft. Reacting with strong emotion escalates the perceived value of the object and adds an element of arousal to the interaction that many dogs find stimulating rather than discouraging. Getting into prolonged negotiations, following the dog around trying to convince them to drop it, extends the duration of the reward. The dog has your attention for longer, not shorter. What the research and behavioral science supports instead is deceptively simple. Remove the reward. When a dog steals and you do not react, when you calmly turn away, disengage completely and give them nothing to work with, the behavior loses its function. No chase, no game, no attention, no confirmed value. An object that produces nothing is an object not worth stealing. The trade method works for retrieval without drama. Approach calmly. Offer something genuinely valuable, a high-value treat. Say the word trade in a neutral tone, exchange, and move on. No emotional charge, no drama, no chase. The dog learns that relinquishing objects to you produces positive outcomes. Over time, this builds into a reliable drop or give cue, and address the root cause. If the stealing is attention-based, increase meaningful daily engagement. If it is comfort-based, consider what stress or anxiety is driving the scent seeking. If it is cognitive boredom, add enrichment, structured training, sniff work, puzzle feeders. If it is resource psychology, stop producing dramatic reactions to object theft starting today. Your dog is not stealing from you. They are talking to you in the most reliable language they have found. Every theft is a sentence, and now you can read it. Subscribe if you are not already here and watch the next video on your screen.